Recently, the EPA released an action finalizing federal implementation plan requirements to address 23 states' obligations to eliminate significant contribution to non-attainment or interference with maintenance of the 2015 Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or NAAQS, in other states, under the Good Neighbor or Interstate Transport provision of the Clean Air Act. The action document itself comprises 935 pages of mostly small font text with few graphics. We at Tabor have reviewed this action and attempted to break it down into what we feel are its most important implications for the affected industries and to provide a pathway for operating reliably in the action's wake. We started by describing the impact on electric generating units, or EGUs, and will soon follow up with a similar summary for the non-EGU industries affected. Stay tuned. Legal challenges to the action are anticipated, but as it stands now, the implications will go into effect for many of the affected states on May 1st of 2023. Through various modeling and data analysis, the EPA has identified that ozone-emitting sources within 23 states are contributing more than 1% of the NAAQS ozone threshold amount to states that are downwind of them. The primary combustion product contributing to ozone formation is nitrogen oxides, or NOx, which is the subject of regulation within the action. Of the 23 states, 12 currently participate in the Cross-State Air Pollution Rule, or CSAPR, Group 3 Trading Program. 7 currently participate in the CSAPR Group 2 Trading Program, and 3 do not currently belong to any CSAPR program. California does not contain any EGUs falling under the action, only non-EGU sources. All of these states will be transitioned to the revised Group 3 Trading Program and begin participating at the start of ozone season 2023, which is May 1st, except for the new states, Minnesota, Nevada, and Utah, which won't be required to enter the program until after the effective date of the rule, if after May 1st. In order to be good neighbors, the EPA is regulating that these states must lower their NOx emission rates to make it possible for their downwind neighbors to realize satisfactory air quality and reduce ozone measurements at particular locations, which will be regulated by participation in a revised version of the CSAPR NOx Ozone Season Group 3 Trading Program. The revised CSAPR Group 3 Trading Program institutes NOx allowance budgets for each state, which EGUs and non-EGUs within each state must collectively reduce their total emission rates to remain below during each ozone season, which runs from May 1st to September 30th. These budgets incorporate planned unit retirements and retrofits, as well as the application of mitigation strategies to all affected EGUs that help to reduce their NOx emission rates. By defining the expected result of these strategies, the EPA has preset state budgets for 2023 through 2029 by playing the major mitigation strategy effects of installing and operating post-combustion flue gas treatment, of selected non-catalytic reduction, or SNCRs, and selective catalytic reduction, or SCRs, partway through 2026 and fully in 2027. This does not mandate that SCRs must be installed by this time if the budget is attainable. Post-combustion systems are not mandated until 2030 under this action. The preset budgets will be in effect for years 2023 through 2025. Then the higher the preset budgets and the dynamic budgeting strategy results will be used for 2026 through 2029. From 2030 and on, only the dynamic budget strategy will be used to determine state budgets. Dynamic budgeting results will be announced 12 months prior to the relevant ozone season. The rule also introduces a dynamic budgeting strategy, as mentioned, which will make the budgets adaptive to changes in the industry while maintaining the rule's stringency. In determining the budgets, the identified mitigation strategies' expected effect on NOx emission rates are applied to each EGU according to their historical heat input in millions of BTUs. For the then assumed current state of the unit, the highest 3 of the past 5 years of heat input are averaged for each unit, then summed to represent the state's total heat input. Each unit is assigned its contribution percentage to this total. Then, the past 3 years of total state input are averaged, and each unit's normalized heat input is equal to the state 3-year heat input average multiplied by the unit's contribution percentage. The normalized heat input is multiplied by the unit's expected emission rate condition, and the total of these creates the minimum level in determining the state's NOx allowance budget. Some adjustments and reapportionment from unit to unit are made at this point, and adjustment for past year's performance, not going lower than the dynamic calculation result. In the revised Group 3 Trading Program, a market for NOx allowances will be available, wherein EGUs, non-EGUs, and non-sources, for example brokers, can trade allowances throughout the year. Allowances sufficient to cover NOx emissions for an ozone season will be due no later than June 1st of the following year, at which time they will be surrendered to the EPA. If a unit is over budget, they must surrender a total of 3 allowances for each NOx ton over budget. The trading program also creates and allows a bank of allowances to be carried over from year to year. However, a target bank size will be used to avoid excessive carryover. The target bank size will be 21% of the state budgets for 2023 through 2029, then 10.5% from 2030 and on. To be clear, the target bank size considers the sum of all allowances across all states participating in the Group 3 trading program, and the target bank size is determined as 21% of the total allowances for all states for control periods 2023 through 2029, and will be 10.5% of the total of all state allowances from 2030 and on. Recalibration will affect all units or accounts with banked allowances if deemed necessary. If the total banked allowances are above the target bank size in a year, the bank will be recalibrated on August 1st of that year, and the EPA will remove from units with banked allowances any allowances above the recalibration limit, which is the ratio of the target bank size to the number of total banked allowances. Several areas of margin as well as additional limitations are introduced within the revised program. Each unit is allowed a 50-ton threshold beyond their unit budget before the 3-to-1 surrender rate will be required. A number of backstop emission rate limits are introduced, including a daily emission rate of 0.14 pounds per million BTU NOx emissions for SCR-equipped coal-fired units. This rate and backstop are not applicable to gas units. And then if that state exceeds its assurance level, which is 129% of the state budget, a season-long average of the lower between 0.1 pounds per million BTU or 125% of that unit's lowest season average emission rate under any CSAPR trading program at any previous year. Multiple mitigation strategies are identified and analyzed by the EPA to accomplish these goals. 6 are directly mentioned. The first, optimizing existing SCRs. Second, installing state-of-the-art NOx combustion controls, for example low NOx burners and overfire air injection systems. Thirdly, optimizing already operating SNCRs or turning on idled existing SNCRs. Fourth, installing new SNCRs. Fifth, installing new SCRs. And sixth, generation shifting. Thank you for listening. Now to find out how to thrive within the Good Neighbor Plan, please check out our next video.